so welcome. Gonna be giving you a little bit of a drive in the S2000, kind of give you some thoughts on how the car is, so let's go. Attention to myself if I don't have to. But yeah, I guess, so kind of like I mentioned in the first S2000 video, this has been kind of a long time since I've been in a Honda, something naturally aspirated and just kind of simple, fun to drive. So this car, it's an AP2, so it has the 2.2 liter. Has a bit lower of a red line compared to the AP1, but it makes up for it with a bit more kind of mid-range torque, which is nice, especially for just kind of driving around in the city if you're not driving too hard or anything like that. Rev it out pretty high to get any decent power. If I remember correctly, I think VTEC kicks in around 6,000 RPM, so that's, you're revving it out pretty decently, but you do get that kind of crossover with the change in the cam profile, so you get more of the induction noise and everything. Everybody kind of knows what VTEC is at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, the car is super fun to drive. It's so direct. It's kind of like a go-kart for the street. Steering is really precise. Rack is relatively quick, so any little input you'll get an immediate reaction. I love the shifting feel of this car. The transmission, honestly, you'll hear a lot of stuff about newer cars. A lot of people say like the Civic Type R has a really great shifter. I think that this shifter actually is better than the Civic Type R. I remember driving an S2000 a few years ago and just had such a kind of an imprint in my mind on how good that transmission was. So honestly, like, this car, as much fun it would be to kind of rev it out and just ring on it, it's actually kind of just fun just to drive around in town and to just shift this transmission, because it's just so direct. It has really nice engagement. It makes for shifting to be a really nice thing to do and an enjoyable thing to do, which can't be said for some cars. I had a Subaru Legacy GT before. It was turbocharged, and Subarus are kind of known for their notchy nature of the shifter, but this one, it's so nice compared to that car, just how direct it is. There's not really much notchiness. It's just pure mechanical feel, which is great. You don't really get that in a lot of modern cars, or obviously within all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive cars, because you're shifting through cables. But Hondas in general are known actually for the shifting feel, and this is definitely among the top within the Honda realm as well. So like in the first video, I did mention that this car has an aftermarket exhaust. It's a GReddy Supreme SP, so it's a relatively tame exhaust, but it does have a pretty nice sound. So like right now when we're cruising, it's pretty quiet. You don't really hear. It's not too obtrusive. When you actually get on it, it does open up quite a bit. It is a little bit too loud for my liking. I don't know if that's just me kind of being old per se, but so I do have a new exhaust picked up for this car, so keep it's not that bad. Like, I haven't really driven this car a ton on the highway, but it's not really meant for that. It's more just to be a fun kind of back roads type of car that has really nice handling. So yeah, that's pretty much really my first impressions of driving this car. This week marks week 3 of ownership, so I'm still relatively new into it, but literally every single time I drive this car, it puts a smile on my face, and you don't even have to like rev it out or anything like that. I actually, you know, funny enough, don't actually drive this car that hard, but it is super fun just to